guys, welcome to my channel. This is the 50th video tutorial in the Python series, and in this video I'll be explaining you about for loop. So for loops are used for iterating in a sequence. For example, if you want to traverse in a string, tuple, array or list, etc. So you can do that. Now we'll see that how we can use the for loops. Here I'm using a list of names. So for that I'll write names Joey and then Ross and Jake and then Amy. So these are the names in my list here, and now what I want to do is print all these names. So what I'll do is I'll write for and then use a variable x, and I'll write in, just write the name of the variable here where you want to check, and then use a tab and then print x. So what this does is it checks that until a element is there, element x is there in names, go on printing x, and once that it has stopped printing, the for loop will be terminated. Here first it will check whether anything is there, so Joey will be printed, then once again it goes to Ross and Ross will be printed, and then Jake will be printed, and at last Amy. So now let's check the output here. So this is the way in which all the elements in our names are being displayed on the output. We can also use it for traversing through a string. Here I'll use for x in, let the string be, I'll write hands, and then I'll write print x. What this will do is it will print each and every letter in hands here, so we can check that. After writing this from the list, here it has printed HANDS, and then the loop stops finally when there is nothing to be displayed else. Now I had told you about break statement in the previous video. In this for loop also we can use break statements, like for example for x in names I'll write print x. Then I'll check some condition here, that if x is equal to Ross, break. Okay, so now what will happen is first Joey will be printed on screen, but when the value of x increments and it comes to Ross, it checks if x equal to Ross, and which is true here, so it will execute the break statement and the for loop will be terminated. So now let's check that. So here Joey and Ross are printed, but after that neither Jake nor Amy will be printed because we have used a break statement here. Now let us see that how we can include the continue statements. I'll just remove this one. I'll write for x in names, I'll check the condition if x equal to Ross, if it is true then I'll just write continue, and then here I'll write print x. Okay, so what this will do is first it will print Joey, it will take the value of Joey as x, and since Joey is not equal to Ross, it will print x here, then x will be Ross here, and since this condition becomes true, it will execute the continue statement and Ross won't be printed, but all the other names like Jake and Amy will be printed after that. So let us do that. So here, as I have told you, that Joey will be printed, but Ross won't be printed here, and after that Jake and Amy are printed. So this is the way in which we can use break and continue statements in for loop. Now suppose that after for loop you want to execute some statements, then you can write else else you can print finished. So what happens here is that once the for loop is completed, it will print this. Okay, so now let's see the output. Okay, after it has finished with after it has finished executing all the statements in for loop, it then prints finished here. So in this way we can use else also in for loops. Now I'll tell you about the function range, which can be used in for loop. The function range is, I can tell that to loop through a set of code specific number of times, we use the range function. Let me write it here. To do a particular activity a specific number of times, which you should know, specific number of times, we use the range function. Okay, it returns the sequence of numbers starting from 0, and then it goes on incrementing the value of it. So I can use that in for loop. So I'll write for x in range, let me use 5 or 6 here. Then I'll do print x, print x, which means that here, since we are using the range function, the value of x will be 0 by default, and since 0 is there in the range, so it will print 0, then it will be incremented to 1, and 1 is in the range of 0, range of 6, so it will print 1 and then print 2 and then print 3, 4 and 5. But when x becomes 6, it is not in the range of 6, so it will terminate the loop. So let us see the output here. As I have told earlier, that the for loop will be executed in this way, that the numbers will be displayed from 0 to 5. Now suppose that you want to print numbers in a particular range, for example 2 to 6, then we can use this. What it does here is, it will print 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 won't be printed because as I have explained you earlier. Now I'll increase the range from 2 to 20, and we saw that every time the value of x would be incremented by 1. Now suppose that we want to increment the value of x by 2, we'll write 2 here, and this is the value of incrementing. So save it and now print it. What you'll see is that first 2 is printed, then it will be incremented by the value of 2, so x becomes 4, and 4 is in the range of 2 to 20, so 4 will be printed, and then 4 is added with 2, and x becomes 6, so 6 is in the range of 2 to 20, so it will print 6. Now 6 will be incremented with 2, and so it becomes 8, and 8 will be printed, and thus similarly we get the values till 18. So this is all about for loops, that how we can use for loops for printing the elements in a list, how we can use break and continue statements, and how we can use the range function in for loops. So that's it for this tutorial. Hope to see you in the next videos. Thanks for watching my videos, and please do like and subscribe.